Cocaine and sex. That is something that is a huge struggle for a lot of people. For me, it was cocaine, sex, and alcohol was the biggest struggle. Cocaine, sex, and alcohol, when I mixed cocaine and alcohol together, next thing you know, I'm having sex with my ex-wife's cousin. I'm having sex with the 21-year-old, 19-year-old receptionist at work. I was having sex with a friend of my ex-wife. I was having sex with a couple saleswomen that I'd hired, some old friends with benefits. I was having sex with everybody nonstop, and it always would happen when I would think illogically and mix alcohol and cocaine, and here's why. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. What people don't realize is when you mix alcohol and cocaine together, it creates a different chemical in your system. It's called cocaethylene. And what cocaethylene is a very euphoric chemical now where your senses go off differently. Your sensory is different. Again, it's very euphoric. You feel very good. And for a lot of people, there's a boredom all of a sudden that hits because these cocaine highs now all of a sudden are lasting. I mean, you do a couple lines, mixing it with alcohol, this high is going to last you up to an hour sometimes. So next thing you know, there's a lot of boredom, especially if you're an addict like myself, where this was like my obsession. And so my days would start off as, I'm snorting cocaine and I'm drinking alcohol. And now all of a sudden I'm bored. I have to fill these gaps, especially on days off. I have to fill this downtime, especially even at work. Unfortunately, there was times where I had to fill this downtime because if I didn't fill the downtime, I would just kind of go insane. And I would just keep using it. It was a way that, I want to enhance the sensory side of things. Plus, when you're an addict, you don't want to use alone. You want to be using with other people. It is a very lonely experience to be an addict. And so if you can have somebody who can't hurt you, that's why you cheat on everybody, at least why I cheated on everyone, or on my ex-wife. Because nobody else could hurt me. Like my ex-wife essentially could hurt me. We were married. But if I'm doing coke with her cousin and I'm drinking alcohol with her cousin, we end up just having sex for an hour. She's a person, a human that I'm occupying my time. I'm occupying my boredom. But there's no relationship there. She can't hurt me. She's not wife material. This isn't anything so I could be on a different addict level with her. And that is one of the things that sucks people in. There's a lot of people out there that struggle when it comes to sex and alcohol and cocaine addiction. And they don't understand, like, why are you buying hookers or why are you having sex with other people and cheating on your spouse nonstop? And a lot of times it is because you don't want to be alone. To use with somebody else is a feeling that kind of fills this emptiness. I mean, if you've ever used and went on a bender by yourself and you're locked in a fucking hotel room and you're snorting lines and you're doing, coke and drinking, it's very boring. I mean, you're by yourself. It's this weird obsession. You don't want to have a party. You're not going out and partying, but you want some kind of company. So why not get a company, of the opposite sex, find somebody who's going to do it with you, and then just have sex in between. And then also you usually end up mixing other chemicals in there now, like Viagra. There'd be people out there doing coke, mixing, 300 milligrams of Viagra all of a sudden because one Viagra isn't working. So you just keep taking Viagra till your dick gets hard, which is pretty scary because sometimes it still doesn't get hard and you're really whacking with your blood pressure. And that's a lot of the dangers of what happens when you start mixing these chemicals together that you don't think about. Your brain goes on a one-track mind. And to try and make it make sense is the only way I could ever for anyone who I've talked to when it came to this. We will cheat on you and sleep with anyone but you because, again, they can't hurt us. If they decide they don't want to hang out with us anymore, cool, whatever, next. If they, they don't have to find us necessarily attractive. There's no foundation of a relationship there. So there can be no hurt. It's kind of like our addiction, essentially. Drugs essentially can't hurt us. Drugs, take away the pain. It takes away everything. Same when it's having sex with people that aren't your spouse. When you're high, that person can't hurt you. And that's the insanity behind it and why I also share is to maybe make it make sense to some people. It was a really big obsession with mine. It was a very big struggle with me for a very long time in life until I finally got sober and I had to really look in at like a lot of the trauma behind it too. Because there is a lot of trauma behind cheating. A lot of trauma behind, why you will essentially just self-sabotage relationships and you'll destroy relationships when it comes to the sexual nature. When it comes to addiction in general, there's a lot of trauma in a lot of cases. There's a lot of unmedicated stuff going on up here. And it is a fight, it's a battle, and that's why I do share. I mean, if you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, hit the like and subscribe button. Comment your experiences down below. Because I think that's where most of the education and learning always comes from, especially when you're trying to find answers, is seeing what other people experience. And the more that we share, the more that it helps people through the journey, especially when you're first starting off and you're like, man, what's wrong with me? And you have to eventually realize that there's nothing wrong with you, dude. We're all like this. These struggles aren't unique just to you. But what can you do to overcome this, address it? How do you get sober? How do you go through withdrawals? All this different stuff. And that's why I think it is so important to share and talk about it, because it gets at least the conversation started, and that's what needs to happen.